Today's video, we're going to talk about removing redundant keywords on Google Ads and why this is dumb, or at least at a surface level why this is dumb, and why you should want to do it for your account just straight out with no thinking involved, okay? This is something that Google suggests to you via their automated recommendations, which if you do, you could actually make a large dent in the amount of money you're making on your ad account just blindly doing this. There are some situations where it is okay, I will admit, but far too many people are just clicking yes to this, or just in general taking Google advertising reps' advice and reducing the number of keywords they have with no thought, or maybe just putting a check on what they're saying may possibly not be to your advantage as an advertiser, which, by the way, with Google reps, that you should always have a jaundiced eye towards what they're suggesting, because I can tell you for a fact they're getting paid to suggest things to you that will raise your ad spend. They're not getting paid to help you make money. That's not why they're there. They're there to help them make more money. And if they can make you more money while making them more money, great. Generally isn't the case. They're generally trying to have you spend more money because that's how they're going to raise their quarterly their quarterly revenue and raise their stock price, okay? So you got to get out of the mindset of Google, why would they do anything wrong to me? Google's an evil corporation like any other. You have to think for yourself if your business is going to be able to thrive running ads on Google. And so this is just one of many things that Google's doing to get you to spend more money when you shouldn't necessarily just be doing what they're saying, because it's going to come out of your pocketbook and into their pockets so they can raise their revenues. So I'm going to talk about the details behind this on this video. Before I get into the content though, if you do not know who I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in their profitability in excess of the management fee. We're the only agency out there who offers any kind of similar guarantees, which should tell you something about the quality of the information on this video. So with that said, getting into it, yes, if you use broad match keywords in your Google Ads account, which if you're still doing this in today's environment, you shouldn't be, because you're going to be paying for a lot of waste, except for in rare circumstances. But if you are using broad match keywords, removing close variants or redundant keyword variants is probably your best bet over the long run at least, but short term, no. Because anytime you make an adjustment in your Google Ads account, the algorithm that drives the ads on Google search hates variability in any of the clients that they have ads and accounts. Algorithms in general do a really good job of optimizing things when they can predict the data flow coming in and the data that they're looking at. The data set just constantly changes all the time. They can't make very good predictions at all. Anytime you make a change in your account, what happens is, usually, is it sends the campaigns into learning mode if it's over a certain scale or size of change. And then when that happens, your ads may spend what they were spending before, but you're not going to get the ROI that you were getting before, because now you're not showing up in the spots that you were showing up for that makes money, if you will. Because Google studies all the people who've ever clicked on your ads, and then they see who buys and who doesn't buy. And even if you don't have your tracking set up right, they still can tell this pretty well based upon how long they've been on your site and so forth. You ultimately make a big change in your account. Google's going to say, everything I knew about who buys from you, that is, what's the section of the keywords that you're advertising on that actually has buyers and which does not, everything I knew about that, I don't know anymore. So I'm just going to put you in your starting spots like you had in the very beginning, and then your ROI goes down the toilet as a result, okay? So you always want to avoid making any changes for that matter if you don't have to, and certainly big changes. Your campaigns could go back into learning mode and your ROI is going to go down the toilet for maybe a week, maybe a month, if you will. So, and when it comes to pausing keywords, that's a significant enough of a change that can send your campaigns back into learning mode in and itself. So yes, maybe you'll get an upside of long-term benefit from your account, scaling down the number of keywords that you have in your account, because you're going to compile the data that you're picking up about what works and what doesn't work in your account into smaller groups of keywords, which the algorithm is going to have a better idea of how those keywords work, because it's going to get more data to look at per keyword instead of spreading it out amongst a bunch of keywords and then really not having that good of an idea of how any one keyword works, short term, just blindly agreeing for Google when they suggest you do this, you're going to end up for a world of hurt where your campaigns go back into learning mode oftentimes, depending on how many keywords you're getting rid of, and should I say, compared to the number of keywords you have in your account. Because if you have 1,000 keywords and you delete 10 of them, and those 10 don't get really that many clicks, you probably aren't going to notice your campaigns going back into learning mode. But if you have 50 keywords and they're suggesting that you shut off 10 or 15 of them, now you have a big problem. Okay, so it is about the scope of the change that is really important here. But you certainly, at the very least, I would tell you right off the bat that if they're saying to pause too many as a proportion of the total keywords that you have, you pause 1 or 2, wait a few weeks, pause 1 or 2 more, so you still get the long-term benefit you're looking for, but without the short-term hidden results. Because let's face it, a lot of businesses cannot take a 25, 50% hit in their ad profitability for a month while the ad system recorrects, gets back on the rails of where it always was. And for that matter, it's because they rely too much on Google Ads to begin with. They think running a business is simply, I set up Google Ads, people come to me, they buy, that's my business, which as much as I love Google Ads, and you can make millions and millions of dollars doing it, when you go back into learning mode, it really, really hurts. Okay, so you should be taking part of your money and trying to get other ad platforms going so that Google Ads is not more than 35% of your revenue, so that when you do take a hit, you're still profitable. Okay, but that's nor there. This is where, by the way, it really pays to work with somebody who knows how the algorithm works on an intimate level, because the average Joe almost doesn't stand a chance anymore unless they have a really good product that sells itself or a service that sells itself with super high demand and low competition, where any one change you make in your ad account can set your ads unprofitable for a while. And when you're trying to figure out what changes to make your ads better, and you don't know what kind of change will landmine your account, you want to work with somebody who knows all these different things, what will and what will landmine, what will not landmine an account, because they've ran those changes hundreds of times before. And your best bet would be somebody who actively works on a few dozen Google Ads accounts at any given time, and preferably has a huge track record of results on top of it. When you want to know what to do, what's the next best move, they already know with very high probability what that next move is. That information's priceless, and it's cheaper to pay that person big bucks than to randomly make changes on your own because of this negative volatility and campaigns going back into learning mode when you randomly make changes. And then you have to experience negative volatility when you make a wrong change. And then when you have to change it back, you're going to go through negative volatility again. And that was 2 negative volatility time spans that you had to go through that were a week to 2 weeks each for no long-term benefit to yourself. And when you only know out of 1 out of 5 changes that it actually gets you the results increase you're looking for, it's not sustainable. So reach out to someone like myself or somebody else that you may know that fits the bill that I just described and get the advice before you make the big changes. You can reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com and I will talk over not only what to do, but if you want us to do hands-on work on your account, we'll guarantee your results before you pay any kind of management fees. We also have ad templates for sale. We've worked in over 100 different niche markets in the last 10 plus years of running this firm. If we've already worked in your niche market before, we can sell you the winning ads, landing pages, all of it that work for your market. You copy paste that into your ad account and get the same results we've got with none of the time and effort and money that it took for us to figure out how to get those results in your market in a different city or country. So at the very least, you should reach out and see if we got a template that you could just use and what results we got in your market and what you would stand to gain from it. But we got people using these templates to start up businesses from scratch because the template works so good. They just sub out the work or do drop shipping and the business works already. They're that effective because we've spent years ironing out every little inefficiency from a campaign in a certain market. So if you're interested in that or any of those things, let me know. Reach out to me on my site. Your best bet is to use exact match keywords anymore in a good half or more of the markets because phrase match is the new broad match, and broad match is like ridiculously broad now, if you will, even though it's more work, and have different ads and landing pages for everything. Going back to what I was saying before, pausing some keywords, the keywords you have left can gather more data quickly, which the data is the wealth of your account. It's 90% of where your results are long-term in terms of profitability is just in the acquisition of data that tells the system that runs the ads what's working for you, what's not, what's going to drive a big sale for you, what's not. But if you are pausing keywords that had different ads for each keyword, now the system you're not going to get a benefit, because certain situations, one ad would work for one persona type and then another ad would work for another persona type. So even though the two keywords target somewhat similar audiences, maybe males respond to this ad over here better, whereas females respond to this ad over here better. And Google is not going to be able to sub-segment the traffic on an individual keyword level like that when you have one ad versus two ads it could pick from, if that makes sense. So if you use a lot of different ads, a lot of different landing pages even also on your account, as much or at all benefit of narrowing down your keywords like that, because the algorithm over time, especially when you've ran your ads for a long time, it's going to figure out what situations it should show this ad versus this ad, and this ad that points to this landing page versus this ad that points to this landing page. So I would not then, in that situation where you use lots of different ads, lots of different landing pages, even distill down the number of keywords you have, even though the algorithm suggests it, because it's not going to get you a better result at the end of the day. I know, because I've been around the block, I've seen this, where you use one ad and one landing page for all your keywords, and you're willing to take the short-term hit, okay. But if you got a mess of an account that used one landing page and one ad for everything, then I agree it's a good thing to, especially when Google suggests removing redundant keywords, do it, as long as you can take the short-term hit in your results, as I mentioned before. There's a lot of little small things you got to know about Google Ads if you truly are going to make millions of dollars a year running it. We've got countless clients where we've set this up over the last decade plus, one step at a time, getting a small budget to work, then recycling your money back into it, scaling it up, and then eventually selling the company or enjoying the millions of dollars in sales and profits you're going to get every year from it over the next how many plus years in the future. If you want to learn all the techniques from somebody who's actively done it again and again and again, directly, I'm not a content creator. I spend 40 hours a week doing ad strategy on dozens of ad accounts personally myself. I have a team that helps us execute, but I do the strategy myself. You're not going to get this level of information from other creators on YouTube who talk about ads but don't really an ad account 40 hours a week doing it. They're just talking about it, which makes the information useless. If you want to learn those techniques, subscribe to this channel. Already, take a minute, subscribe, because you're not going to find better information on YouTube, I promise you, than what you're going to find here, because it's coming from a real practitioner, not a fake one. Furthermore, if you want to check out my blog, I've got even better information there. You can find my blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has step-by-step instructions on how to actually make money with the guaranteed strategies we use to guarantee clients results at our firm as well. So if you like the channel, you should check the blog out as well. For that matter though, as to sum this up, don't just blindly go with Google suggestions, whether it's Google's auto suggestions in the recommendation section of your ad account or Google Reps, because Google, by corporate law, has to do what's good for the shareholders, not you. You're second in the pecking order there. So you got to think for yourself. And if you don't think and put your business first, nobody is. So it's not your fault if you don't make money, if you're not going to put your own business first over what somebody else is telling you should do yourself. Just so know that be the golden rule moving forward. It's not going to get any better. Google's only going to there's going to be more and more pressure to raise their quarterly profits as they become more and more of a mature platform. AI platforms take over. So you have to do that for yourself. If you want to make it simple for yourself, we invest in companies. If you got a great product or service, we'll invest money in your company in terms of ad spend. All of the expert marketing team that our firm has, including myself, to make your ads work, and in exchange, we'll take a percentage cut of the future revenue growth in your business. We've invested in several companies like this, and they're all doing millions a year in sales now. You want to know the references? We got them. So in exchange of paying our firm or a firm like ours a monthly management fee to manage your ads, we'll take a cut of your revenue growth in the future. Between 1 and 10% of the increase in revenue growth in your company, that'll be our cut. Now that's on overall sales, not on just ad spend, the company overall sales. If you're willing to do this or want us to, want to have a conversation about it, you can reach out to me at my firm, and we're looking for companies to invest in at this time. Also, just as a side as well, I have released a Discord group. So if you want to talk with other people who like this channel, who like what I'm saying, do the strategies that I'm talking about on this channel and are talking about it actively, reach out, and via the description, I've got the Discord channel link where you could go there. I have a free PPC/advertising course that I personally put together. If you go to the course, you're going to see that pen at the top, and you can take advantage of that right away. While you're there, hey, if you have a question about the strategies we talk about on this channel, you post your questions there and you'll get a response. If not from me, from somebody else. So with that said, I'm going to wrap everything up with that. Thank you very much for watching as usual, and I'll see you in the next one.
Remember when I said broad match keywords was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.